have all the movers and shakers with me in my panel. Last month, a shopping center in US was pitched by an investor, PE fund, $117 million. And they had an anchor called Dillard. Dillard moved out from that center, and the next quote came from PE fund was $17 million, 1-7, from $117 million to just $17 million in 30 days time gap. That is, gentlemen, is the importance of anchor in any shopping center. Now, if we talk about anchor, anchor is not about leasing or rental, it is about partnership, if I'm not wrong. And there are three known reasons, which everyone knows in public domain, that when brand or shoppers, the developer talk about choosing anchor or anchor choosing the mall, they talk about is city on a rollout plan of the retailer or not, is the mall is in right place in city, and is the store location is in right place in the mall. That are the three known factors in public domain. Other three factors which we normally discuss in-house boardrooms are, one, are we using the astrologer, tarot card reader, or we use a crystal gazer to select the right place and the right developer. Let me start with the panel first. Mr. Shah, if you have only three reasons to choose, or three attributes about the right location, which would be these three right attributes for you?
So what we try to see is basically we all are aware. See, we have 65 stores of West Side, and we are aware where we can open the stores. So whenever we get development from the mall, we try to see the location and the population around. And we are very sure of it, what kind of business can happen and what kind of cost developer is asking. So we try to see, is it falling into our strategy? Is it location is right? Is it, are we getting a right size and shape of the things? And what is the cost? These are the few things we will try to look at it. Okay. And if these things are right, then we go for it.
Rajneesh, it is told that if you are right anchors in a mall, the value of the mall goes up by 15%, and the vanilla retailers, adjacent vanilla retailers sales goes up by 25%. So if you are the one who's going to choose among the two different anchors, what are the key attributes you look to pick up the one out of two?
Well, to be very candid with you, I don't think in India at present we have liberty to choose anchors, because the large footprint users as a retail and offering the similar or replaceable category, they are very limited. So largely you are dependent upon what is the requirement of your own mall in terms of the size of the mall, the number of floors of the mall, and the kind of positioning you have for mall. So largely the selection criteria is more internally driven than externally. If you go out today in department stores, you would have to choose between Shoppers, Lifestyle and Central. If you look around for mid-sized players, then you are ending up choosing between 5 or 6. But if you're doing a very large mall, you have to have maybe most of them with you. So I don't think we really have that kind of basket available to choose, but largely the decision is driven internal factors. And one has to, what we used to do in school days, you know, match column A with column B with the right kind of pictures together. So you got to understand your own internal factors, which you need to fill in to circulate footfall better, to occupy spaces in a better manner, and bring in a wider range of merchandise. And then you got to match with what is available in the market. I think maybe a decade down the line, when you will have a lot of players to choose from, then the liberty would be there and the fun would be there.
You know, a lot of time we invest in terms of exploring the rollout plan of anchors, and a lot of time goes in meetings and exploring either side of the story. Is it possible that key anchors in terms of department store, cinema and the food court just release, hypothetically, a list that these are our target cities for next 12 months. And this is the kind of sizes we are looking at different sizes, metros and the tier 2 and tier 3. Is it possible? Is it possible in near future to see that kind of list coming out?
We already have a list of cities that we would like to enter. Apart from this, I mean, we are also happy with new developers coming out and trying to tell us as to these are also some more development, I mean, some more cities where we could look at setting up multiplexes. We're keen and we have the rollout strategy already in the system.
Dipti, what are the 2 or 3 critical legal clauses you keep seeing in the lease document agreements, which takes a lot of time to finalize the final agreement with the anchors?
There are a couple of clauses. I guess the first is renewal at the option of both the parties that we face a challenge on. I guess, there is a definite relevance. I mean, if we are calling ourselves partners all this while, then why should there be a discrimination on the developer's tenure? So I would assume that that is definitely a bone of contention between the developers and the retailers. The other clauses probably would be on CAM charges or deposits. I mean, by and large, the only discomforting clause that ever happens between the developers is when there is an exit.
Okay.
Rest everything, I guess, is resolvable by mutual dialogue.
Rajesh,
can I just add to what Dipti and the question that you have? Among some 380-90 retailers that we have worked with across 5 malls so far, and some 650 leases that we would have signed so far in last 10 years, I do not see 3 to 4 lawyers who have strongly come back on the same set of 1 or 2 points.
Okay.
So 650 lawyers have come back with 650 different points that they thought will change their life and their client's life. But if there is one point that maybe more than 5 lawyers say this is not acceptable, one can easily change that. But there is no consensus what is wrong in the agreement or what is right in the agreement. Every single lawyer has a different view about the same agreement.
Rajesh, my next point is little touchy. Okay, I'm talking about the fit-out period, which starts from 45 days to 6 months. Can Rajnikant help?
Well, I think in this one case, Rajni can't help.
Okay, Rajni can't help.
Wonderful. Can't is a C-A-N-T, can't help, because the dependencies are so wide that you have a retailer who is dependent upon some 7 consultants, and you have a developer who is dependent upon some 15 consultants, ranging from the structural engineer to the AHU, the power, the water, the waterproofing. I think the only thing which can work is that 15 of them sit together and coordinate and plan it well. One man cannot do anything here, and Rajnikant is one-man army. So,
Shah Sahab, I have, sorry, please.
I have seen some of the standalone store we have done in 45 days.
Wow.
And when it comes to the mall, we have taken sometime 12 months. What is happening is if developers and the retailer works together and be open about the permission parts and construction part and other financial where they are on the project, then I think it is possible to come to some conclusion that we can 4 months we can open, or what is the stage, and these are the things are required.
Okay.
Basically everyone is keeping their plan with themselves.
Okay.
That's the problem.
Mr. Shah, I have 2 questions for you. One is a personal, and second is for everyone. The personal question is told to me that whenever a developer come to your cabin, either they should have a reasonable insurance and a bulletproof jacket. Is that true, or is it just a rumor, sir? And my second question is that you lease out both anchor as well as vanilla retail. What is the difference in terms of when you approach leasing out the anchors and then the vanilla?
I think it's a 2.5 times usually. Anchors are suppose at 60 rupees, the vanilla is at 180 rupees. Usually that kind of difference is there, 2 to 2.5 times.
Okay.
And the first question I don't have to.
Okay. I have some.
I think we have worked with Rajnish as well as with and you can ask the question to them.
What is the one guru mantra you give to any developer to get a better multiplex in the mall?
Better multiplex, it all depends on the development. I mean, see, any retailer would look at a very nice development coming up. right customer and retailer friendly design. See, all the developers compromise on the design. They would like to achieve the maximum FSI. If that's the case, then you are definitely going to goof up on the design. So any retailer would look at having a nice design coming in place, and yeah, it's pretty much actually the design which is one of the very critical factors which will decide on the property.
And Mr. Shah, from properties, what kind of yardstick you have in terms of store level profitability, the contribution at regional level, the recovery of depreciation and the payback period? Which one you target in which year, sir?
We look at a store level profitability. Yes. What we make investment also we look at the interest, and if the contribution is there only, then we try to do it. It might happen that it takes 2 years sometime, some of the properties, but we look at store level contribution.
Okay. Rajneesh, you are in this business for last more than 10 years. Is the focus changed in terms of getting anchors from year 2000 to year 2012? Is anything changed in terms of outlook or the approach or the credibility part of it?
I think it has changed a lot in terms of the whole tenant mix approach. A lot of options are becoming available, so you do not necessarily need a very large footprint of an anchor, and you can do with different speciality being brought in by some of the mini anchors, so you can actually slice the floors and bring different kind of categories. I think one of the attempts that Select made when one wing or one side of the wing, they did not give it to one anchor, but they brought in different kind of categories at each floor in a larger presence. There are possibilities now, I believe in that sense. If you see most of the larger malls around the country today, whether it is the ones who are touching million square feet, I think most of them do not have a large department store. Whether you look at Ambience in Gurgaon or Market City in Pune or Bangalore, so they have gone with a different kind of tenant mix where they do not have a very large anchor in department store, but they have smaller anchors which represent different kind of price point and different kind of merchandise mix. And also you get an opportunity to do specialty retail in a little larger representation with these kind of mixes. The biggest change I have seen in last 10 years is that from a 20,000 feet format for a department store, people went aggressive up to a lakh square feet format, and then they came down to maybe a 40-45,000. So the industry on the retailer side also has got their set of learnings in place, and their approach to business has changed a lot. So there are changes, and I think with each passing day we are learning more about this industry and how to fit ourselves to match the requirements and make it financially viable. So things are changing every day.
Dipti, at what stage you involve anchors in the planning? Is it while you are acquiring the property or concept drawing or JFC, or what stage you bring them in?
The engagement of anchors is at a later date. It is definitely not during acquisition. Internally, you would have sorted out in your mind as to what anchors are you going to rope in for that particular location, which is a function of the relevance of the brand in that particular catchment. However, the dialogue starts once there is some sort of a construction at least above the basement level per se, and it's very dynamic and it's very personal. So it really depends on what the developer is looking for. There are certain people who want to have everything signed off before they start constructing, and then there are people who start leasing once they are completely finished, at least with the civil work. So
my last question, Natarajan, to you is hypothetically there's a city, 5 operational mall, all 5 got 5 different multiplex brands, the 6th mall comes up, and you are left with only 1 more multiplex brand. So is there going to be a complete due diligence going to take place, or you pick up the last brand available in the market?
No, probably we may not take up that property also. Might take the property depending on the town and what's the kind of appetite of the whole town population, and if each of these guys are doing about 40-50% occupancy, me coming in there, I would not do major wonders, provided the property is one of the best properties. If the new upcoming property is very nice, then we probably would evaluate taking up the property. It depends on the size and the developer and his confidence on maintaining, managing the mall. And these are some of the factors which can, decide on us taking the property or not.
Thanks to my panel and thanks to such a wonderful audience. Thank you very much. God bless.